Grand Rising, everybody. Grand Rising, Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Hello, Miss Dolores. Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Hey, Miss Teresa. Hello there. Hey, Lolita. Hey, Robin. Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are having a great hump day. The week is almost over already. Okay. We do have Vigo today. Today, we're going to get into, after this show, I'm going to be live on Vigo discussing the Tyler Perry lawsuit, $280 million, and the text messages have now been made public, but I have the full doc, so we're going to go over all of that today after the show on Bigo. Okay, but right now, make sure that you guys do remember to share the live if you can, but also remember this month's raffle and giveaway. All you have to do is download Spaces by Wix. If you're already a member, just make a post of engagement. It can be anything, talking about today's show. Hey, Elizabeth. It could be talking about today's show. It could be, suggestions for new stories that you would like me to cover or any of those types of things. Like, hey, Ebbs Beauty. Hey, my B-goers are here. My big, hey, OG. OG, I see you in about 40 something days. I see you in about 40 something days. I get to see OG. Alrighty, guys, let's get into it. So this is a cold case. As you guys did suggest you wanted me to do more cold cases. So this is our second one that we've kind of dug into as we're getting started. Do not forget though, as you guys have requested, what Miss Dolores did request for the Royal Lockbox to return. So if you would like to get any of my advice on any life situation, it could be your job, your friendship, relationship, whatever it is, anything that's coming to your mind. It's just a way for me to allow people to kind of vent without sometimes nobody even knowing who you are. Well, you can remain anonymous. All you have to do is at the top of your letter put "Lock me in the box, Savage," or Lock me in the box, Royalty." Whatever's better for you if you want to remain anonymous. Now, and if you don't mind for people to know who you are, just say "Unlock the box" at the top of your letter, and I will definitely ensure that everyone knows who you are. Okay, and that would occur at the end of each month. Now, since I am making this announcement in the middle of this month, if we can get enough letters by the end of this month, I will still do it. If we cannot, we're going to roll it on over to the middle of July, because of course I cannot do it at the end of July because I will be on vacation. Okay, so make sure that you do get your letters in. And once again, it can be about anything. The last time that we did the Royal Lockbox, y'all, it was really juicy. Okay, it was really, yes, get those letters in. It was really, really juicy, but it was also a time for people to kind of like take some weight off their shoulders, vent, lock it in a box, and move on with their lives. Okay. So if you want to participate, just submit your letter. All right. Now today's code case, we're going to be covering a 1998 abduction, a R word that occurred in murder of a 5-year-old girl. Her name was Brittany Locklear, and she was out there in North Carolina, and she was taken while she was waiting for a school bus. And it was a few feet away from her family's home. So more than 2 decades later, the case do remain to be unsolved. And it has plagued the investigators. There was some failures within this investigation, as well as some form of political interference that occurred too. Now, well, we will walk through every piece of this entire story, the timeline, the breakdown, the suspect leads, as well as some possible corruption that did occur during this time. Okay, now here's what exactly happened. So on the morning of January the 7th of 1998, okay, Brittany, she had got dressed for school that morning. She was a kindergartner at that time, and she did get some assistance from her mother, per usual, like any mother would do. Her mother's name is Connie, and she had wore some green and white softball shirt, some green denim overalls, as well as some pink and green tennis shoes, and a red hood. Okay. Now they did walk together to the bus stop, just about 500 feet from the family's home. Now, Connie had decided that she needed to run briefly to the bathroom, so she went back into the house. And when she returned, Brittany was gone. Now, there were some neighbors to say that they did witness a brown and tan pickup truck with some flashing lights suddenly stop in front of the home, and the man jumped out and grabbed Brittany and then sped off. Now, somewhere around 9 a.m., her clothes and her backpack was discovered about 3 miles away. The next day, her body was also discovered. It was nude and it was in a drainage ditch, is where they discovered her body. And she had been essayed and she drowned there as well. Now, she was what you would consider she was an indigenous, okay? And she was a part of the Lumbee community out there in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And her case will become one of the most earliest known examples of, all the different crimes that go on when it comes to missing and murdered indigenous women or children, okay? And if you guys did not know, this is something that has plagued the reservations for decades now, and they don't haven't really been able to understand what is the cause behind it or what is the root of it. But it has, at this point in 2025, continued to go on. Okay, just a couple months ago, there was a young indigenous girl. I believe she was about 15 years old, and this same exact thing happened to her, and her body was then discovered later. Okay, but they haven't. It has always been, a new suspect each time or a new area each time. So it's kind of hard for them to really pinpoint the reasoning behind all of this, and why are indigenous girls and women targeted. Now, when it comes down this very specific timeline of things, okay? At 6:30 a.m., Brittany is being helped into her school clothes by her mother, and then at 7 o'clock, they walk outside and wait for the bus. Connie then goes inside briefly. Around 7:05 a.m., Brittany is then abducted, okay, in full view of the neighbors to see her. At 9 a.m., her clothes were then discovered, her clothes along with her backpack. And then on January the 8th, her naked body was then discovered. Now, in 1999, the sheriff department, along with a sheriff's officer by the name of Jim Davis, he began to take over the investigation and tries to allegedly frame Brittany's step grandfather and try to force some form of him admitting or the family admitting to the crime. Okay, so family members say that this particular officer, had harassed them, as well as he proceeded to ignore multiple major leads within this investigation, as well as try to steer outside suspects from being further investigated. Now, in 2001, Sheriff Herbert Peterkin is his name. He then took over the case and he removed Davis from the team and then reopened the case from scratch. And then in 2002, there was a local firefighter by the name of Keith Laundrie was his name. He was caught with a photo of her, and it was found in his locker. They did do a DNA test for him, but it did not match. Okay. Now, since then, the case have continued to be cold. Not much has come from this, okay? Outside of the sheriff's deputy pinpointing this to the step grandfather, and outside of Keith Landry being announced as a possible person of interest, but DNA then later ruled him out. I must say that Keith Landry had passed away in 2018. Okay. He passed away in a hospice. So if there was any leads with him, they're no longer able to get them unless they go through a family member or something like that. Or if, because if you think about it, back in 2008, DNA wasn't as advanced as it is now. So maybe there could be some more testing to family members of his to see possibly if there could be possibly a match. Now, this child was taken in broad daylight, okay? Right in front of her house. And this just lets us know how easy and how fast it takes for a person to take your child. And this was why I always say, even in this, with this being in 1998, you know, 20 years later, we still have these same problems, except for we have more of whoever this suspect is. Okay. Back in 1998, it was harder to catch them, but in 2025, it can be a little bit easier. But we still have more. Yes, DNA was definitely different back then, but we still have more advanced technology. They actually would be able to put the DNA test, any DNA that they collect, into CODIS to see if it runs anything. Back during that time, we really didn't have a CODIS system. to be able to pull up any DNA that can be closely matched to any DNA that was found on a crime scene. Okay. So I think that if they were go back and maybe look at either some people that were closely connected, and I must say, I did go in myself and I tried to go see, like, were there any people that were possibly arrested, that could have been closely connected to this. And I did find someone, and he was in jail, but his case was so heinous and he lived about 20 miles away from her home. And his case was so heinous. And when I put up his record, he had about 100 um abuse charges towards children. Okay. So apparently he had went to the hospital at some point in time and he had called one of his family members to go to his house to pick up some things. So when the family member had went to the house to pick up some things, they had ran across multitudes. They said 12, but when the investigators came, they found hundreds of images of children in very sickening positions in this man's house. Now, this man lived about 20 minutes away, straight shot from her where she was and from the road she was found on when she was taken from. So Gainey Road is where she was, and this man lived in Fredericksville Road or something like that, which was about 20 miles away. 20 minutes away. And they said that they had believed that this man had been doing this to children, okay? Physically doing this to children for 10 years. He was arrested in 2018, okay? Now, if we know she went missing in 2008, he was arrested in 2018. That's within that time gap, okay? Now, we may say to ourselves that 20 minutes is far away for some people, but technically it's not, especially when you know the area and if you're someone prowling around. Okay? Whoever this said person was lived in this area. Whoever this said person was knew quick routes to get away and was able to disappear and keep this under wraps for 20 years. Okay? And I did look and see, what is his status? They gave him 40 years. Okay? 40 years for his crimes. And he passed away in there in jail. 20 minutes, yeah, it's too close. Too close. And they believe that there were more victims out there and that he had been doing it for 10 whole years. And this could be one of those situations where maybe the images were just people that he possibly abused, but we don't know if there was possibly murders in the midst of this because a lot of these cases turn out to be just like that. And it was in the same area, okay? Same area, 20 minutes away. He probably was a suspect. Now, they did say that they did investigate, people that were in the area during that time and other sex offenders during that time. But if you think to yourself, okay, this man wasn't arrested until 2008. So when they were investigating Brittany's case, they wouldn't have been investigating him because he wasn't an offender as of yet. So he wouldn't even he wouldn't been there. Wouldn't even be thought of to be a suspect. But he's deceased now. But that doesn't mean that they can't go to other family members to possibly see if he could have been a suspect, i.e., this family member that picked up the photos, who possibly is very disgusted about what he discovered from his fellow family member. He would be, or he or she could possibly be willing to do a nice DNA test for this person, at least to get the case closed. Now, during this time, of course, Amber Alerts did not exist in North Carolina as of yet. The State Bureau of Investigation, they did mishandle the evidence and they misplaced some tips as well, as they did disregard many calls and many tips that came through, as well as there was some digital gaps that did possibly, delete some crucial leads in this investigation. Now, when it comes to Jim Davis, the sheriff's deputy, he allegedly attempted to intimidate the family while also withholding public updates and pursued on some false leads. he's accused of burying some of the brown truck leads. So when people was coming to him about this brown truck, he would dismiss it as if it wasn't there. When the brown truck is one of the biggest leads in this, because there's neighbors that say that I seen a truck come stop and pick her up. So if anything, that is a prioritized lead. But unfortunately, he swept it under. Okay. Now, with her being an indigenous child, this also plays into what many of the statistics state when it comes to indigenous children and women is that when it comes to their investigations, they're typically undermined. They're not really taken as seriously as they should be, and investigators don't handle them with proper protocol. It could be due to some form of bias because that is there. There's well-known bias when it comes to these type of situations within policing, within the courtrooms. Okay. It's well known bias. Now, um, the biggest question in this is why would Keith Laundrie, the firefighter, have a picture of her? And who is he connected to? Because I would think that the investigators would also look into how he got this picture. Okay, we can say DNA say that he did not match. There's no reason that you should have a random picture of a young girl that is not associated to you in any manner. Not only a young girl, but a young girl that was essayed and murdered. And you're our first responder. What is your reasoning for having it in your possession? Are you holding it as some form of memento, or is it connected to someone that you know? What is your reasoning? I would love to know if they dug deeper to kind of hound him on how he got this picture and what was the point of it being in his locker. Now, also, why wasn't Hey the Real Books, um, that suspicious behavior of the sheriff makes me wonder if the sheriff committed the crime or someone connected to him that he's trying to cover up for. Because this is very small town. It is. It's very small town. I looked it up. Okay, let me see if I can show you guys. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can get it here so y'all can show you guys what we're the surroundings that we're looking at. Alrighty. So that you can see the area, and we're looking at really small town, guys. Really, really small town is what we're looking at. Okay. This is the drive. So when I put it in for the guy that I said lived about 20 minutes, this is it here. This is a straight shot, okay, to where she was. But this is really country type town that this place is, guys. So I wouldn't be surprised if um they knew each other in some way. Whoever had this picture. And I wouldn't be surprised if this was a small town culture, and you guys know how the small town culture is. While the firefighter could have had a picture, the firefighter could have been knew someone close to him that knew about it, or this could have been something maybe the sheriff department knew who the person was and it was closely connected to them. But there was a reason why they decided to kind of put this under wraps. Give me 1 second so I can pull it up. Okay. So this is here. Okay. This is the ride from the guy's house that I was telling you guys about and where she was found at. She was found on Gainey Road, and the red dot is where up here by this hospital is where the man is. And he lived in like a little it's a little small house on a side road. And all of this is like really country, you can see it. It's really country, long roads, a lot of land. So this is given very much small town, small place, if you know type of situation. That's what this is given. Okay. And if you look here, the route from where she was to where he lived was about 20 minutes. And they considered this guy one of the most heinous cases that had came out of this area at that time. And they said he had been doing it for about 10 years. So that's why I feel like that when it comes to the picture, why this guy, held the picture, the firefighter, why the sheriff's department decided not to say anything or to cover it up and sweep it under the rug. This is a small town type of thing where somebody knows something. Somebody knows something. Now, what they know, I don't know, but someone definitely knows something. This town is too small, okay? It's not a major city. This is you guys can see this is field and land and cars and little houses and it's not much here. It's not much here, okay? At all. Not much. So there's no way that in this little small area where she lived on these long roads here and I'm surprised that with this type of scenery that even someone seen something. So that'll let us alone let alone let us know that the neighbors were close enough to be able to see that there was, a issue. There was a problem when they seen her being snatched up. But yeah, so it's just one of those places where I'm not one to believe that this is just some random person that visited the town. Whoever did this is someone close by. This is and they could have and keep in mind, she was found literally the day after she was abducted. So whoever this person was is near. They're near. And they know the surroundings. They knew where this ditch was, they knew where everything was. They're close. They're not far out. They're not an out of towner, someone that's passing through. No, this is not the type of town that you're just passing through. This is one of those places where if you know, you know. That's the only reason you should be there. Were there other kids missing? I didn't see any other kids missing. I checked that as well to see if any other kids had went missing around this time in this area. I didn't see anything. Um, mm-mm. She's like the biggest case. Even if you were to put up the city of where she went missing, her name is automatically going to pop up. She's going to be the first one. And it's because she is one of the biggest cases out of this area. This little small area here. So, I didn't see anyone else, no other children. Did I see any other I also looked to see if there were any other, SOs that were in that area. I didn't see many. I didn't see any, and the closest one I seen was about 50 or 60 miles away or something, but the one that I told you guys about, he was literally where I just showed you at, about 20 minutes away, straight shot, and had just got arrested. We got arrested in 2018, but they said he'd been doing it since 2010. I mean, 2008, which would have been 10 years exactly. You know, it was a major case. Yeah, yeah, it's a big case out there. So it's just a lot of and then I also tried to kind of look to see, when I looked at his records, and I've seen so many records for people, guys. I've never in my life seen as many charges for child crimes on one particular case in my life. Okay. That's how long the list was for this guy that I'm telling you guys about. So it was at least 100. It was at least 100. Okay. On one case. And this could have been the one that went left for all we know. Because we know how these people are that partake in these types of things. We know how it only gets worse over time type thing, you know? So, yeah. Well, that's that, guys. We will have more cold cases to come out as we go by. If it's any cold cases that you guys would like me to look into, please let me know, okay? And I will definitely look into it, bring awareness to it. I think I seen Evangelist type something about a case um in here. I thought I did. I could have read it wrong. Savvy. I hope you thought about the unsolved case of Pastor Carol Daniels out of Oklahoma. No, post it in spaces. Post it in spaces, and I'll definitely put it on the cold case list. We're gonna be doing so many cold cases, guys, because I'm really starting to, like them a little bit because it gives me time to kind of think and research. So if you just make a post about a cold case and you could just put like what I'll do is I'll make a tag for cold cases and you can just tag it as a code case, and then I will be able to go in and pick from whatever case you guys want me to cover on spaces on the code cases. Thank you, Lolita. Alrighty, guys, if you haven't done so already, please like this video if you like this video. And if you are new here, please make sure that you do subscribe. If you are watching me on the Facebook side of things, please make sure that you do follow me on Facebook and let me know your thoughts on today's topics. Okay, on today's topic. Okay, now as of right now in 2025, there is a $20,000 reward that remains active for this case. So the SBI continues to investigate, and Sheriff Peterkin is teamed up and committed to pursuing this mini cold case leads. So any tips that you guys may have can go to 1-800-334-3000. Okay, 1-800-334-3000. And if you have any thoughts on this case on the YouTube side of things, please drop them in the comments below and let me know what you think. Any, possible things that you thought about during the case that could possibly help investigators. I will tell you, they watch social media more than you guys think, okay? They really do. And sometimes these type of shows kind of make some investigators, they think a little bit deeper about some things. You're a newbie. Far from it. Far from it. Okay? Far from it. All right, B-goers, I'm on my way to you. Gotta get into these Tyler Perry docs. Now, Tyler, I don't know what you did. You done made people cry with that Straw movie for the last couple of weeks, and now all of a sudden they after you. I don't know if this is this a shakedown or what's going on, Tyler? Okay, all right, what you doing over there? We're gonna get into it on the Bigo side of things. See you guys in just a minute over there, and thank you for watching and thank you for tuning in to True Crime with Savage Royalty.